Oh, good morning, Tartaria, Australia. Hey, buddy.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm pretty
Cold
good.
morning. Yes,
I know how fucking nice the weather's changed. I'm sorry, we missed the show last week and it was all my fault because it was so hot and humid here, my brain just fuzzed out. And I was like, I can't do it, Cambo. I've got nothing of any value to say.
brain got fried, man.
Brain got fried.
Yeah,
I'm not good in that humid, high, never-ending heat.
I know. I know. That's another one of our opposites. I like
Yeah.
I like the beach, the humidity, and you want to live in the cold,
Yep.
grey England.
Yes, it's true. I should definitely be in the northern part of the world. Definitely, definitely. I don't know how
Mm.
I ended up in Australia. It must just be this lifetime significant country of ours.
Yeah, yeah, because your parents are English, aren't they? Both of them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're a first gener.
Oh, mate, I'm Welsh and Cornish. I'm Welsh and Cornish, baby. I'm
Wow.
Welsh and Cornish, which is really odd, funny little dynamic. Little odd little
Yeah,
dynamic
right.
Cornish. Yeah.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah, right. You're Welsh. I didn't know the Welsh bit.
Yeah, mate. My
You
dad's
got some
Welsh.
of Martin Leakey's country in you.
Yeah, I do. I do. And I do.
Mm.
It's true. I thrive in those countries. I love them and I thrive in the cold. But anyway, here I am in the hottest, stinkiest country in the world, covered in red dust. And that's fine
Well,
too.
luckily you moved to the Sunshine Coast then.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, I spent my life avoiding this for that.
Oh,
But it's a good move. It's the right move for these times ahead of us, beautiful continent of ours.
yeah, up
So
high
the
in the
internet's a bit shit
mountains.
today.
The internet's pretty shit today, yeah, so we'll keep going. Hopefully it won't be too bad.
So, Mr. Autodidactic, any personal updates here? We've got to remind everyone to submit their article for the newspaper because we're getting our shit together for the November edition. So you've only got 2 more weeks, everyone. So get your shit together and submit the article. The theme of this month, and the themes are loose, hey, like these are just something we're
Yeah.
trying to see if a theme actually works as a concept, but is basically the Forbidden Lands.
Forbidden.
So, carrying on
Mm,
with our excellent conversation about how many restricted, forbidden, out of bounds, um, reserves, whatever language they want to add to it, how many are in your continent. And we would like trying to put together a nice visual image and a concept of bringing it together so we can really start to have a look
mm.
country to country of how much of this um, world of
Realm,
ours
yeah,
or realm of ours is actually accessible to us.
forbidden.
And it might surprise you when you start to do some research that there's a big, big percentage that is definitely not accessible to us
Yeah.
ordinary gods.
So if you want to contribute and you're looking for a theme, yeah, find out what's banned, where you can't go in your own country. There's definitely lots in Australia. And then there's the whole timeline. Well, is it the timeline? Like the lines of time, like how they section time out across the
Yep.
world. They're all straight lines except for one, and it's crazy. And it goes around that little atoll called
Yep.
Kira, what's it called? Kira, I keep thinking Kiribati, but it's
I
not.
was about to say Kirribilli.
Kiribati or
No,
something.
we've been programmed.
Yeah, which is that little atoll but it's got the biggest ships in the world apparently port there. So there's something going. So there could be whole lands, everything. So yeah, whatever you're into, submit it. And while
That's
you're
right.
there, subscribe,
That's right.
tartariaaustralia.com.
Yes, because the free edition is done. It's over. We've sold out of that. Sold out,
Sold
ironically,
out,
even though it's
well,
free.
we gave out.
We gave out. So from here on in, it is the next edition. So yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, it's a very fucking excellent community project. Everyone who's seen it has loved it. It's very personable. It's very so specific to our community. You really, truly will love it. So if you haven't jumped on to subscribe, go ahead and do that before the next edition. Otherwise, you won't get it. And I'm excited because the next edition is going to be like even more amazing than the first one. And the first
Mm,
one was fucking excellent.
it was. So whatever it is, it can just be a photo, it can be a poem, it can be just some musings or a new conspiracy theory, or it can be deep research. Whatever you're into, send it in. and let's get it going. Because we do have to keep in mind all this encroachment of internet ID and all their threats and everything, and we don't really know what's going to go on. So this is a way we can all keep in touch and up to date offline and uncensored.
Yes, and even more important, which I think we will make a case for in today's show, is the actual act of participating in an uncompressed state is the topic of this show today, which sounds obscure right now, but bear with us because we're living in an era of compression, and it's going to explain a lot as to how we're feeling and why we're feeling this way. So, something like the
Yeah,
newspaper, Cam, is so important because you've got freedom of expression and you're not operating under algorithms or metadata. You're operating out of your own creative consciousness, and that is actually getting rarer and rarer in this realm of ours.
it is, especially with all the censorship, a lot of creators, there's just all these places you don't go because you can't, right? You literally can't. You'll lose accounts in that. So just in that aspect, we censor that even the topics we sort of approach, right? But not in print, man. And so yeah, you can talk about whatever you want. Um, so get into it. And yeah, like yeah, this whole internet ID thing is getting weird. I went out to an 80s night. Was it last weekend, the weekend before?
That's right.
And we went out, finished at quarter to 10, right? I mean, holy dooly. So we went out to a pub. I had to show my
Because we're all
ID.
babies now. We're
Yes,
all
but
babies that have to go to bed at 10, man.
but yeah, you have to show your ID. Like, and it's not to make sure you're 18. It's so they scan it so they know that you're there. And then at one of the places they took our photos.
You
And this is just going to the pub, man. Like, so it's getting pretty crazy out there. So subscribe or you might lose everything and everyone and be out there on
subscribe.
your own trying to get into a
Now,
pub, not wanting your photo taken.
so just then, I just would like to say, Cam, that you froze and then you spoke but frozen and then you sped up. Spoke
Oh,
but frozen and then sped up. So I'm just saying, like for the viewers out there, there may be a little bit of randomness in that direction today. The
bit of
internet's not great.
glitchiness. Yes.
Yep.
Basically, they're tracking you already,
So
even at
if
pubs.
if Campbell says something hilarious, but I'm not laughing, it's because I've frozen.
Yeah, it's definitely not because I'm not funny. Let's just
Yep.
get that out
And
of
if my head's not bobbing, my like my little bobble head, then I've
the
frozen.
way. She's looking confused. Yeah, yeah.
I have a like I think one of our fun ideas is to create some bobble heads just because I get so many comments about how I bob my
Well,
head.
yes. I know. Yes, yes, you're right. We'll just get them with a little voice that goes, "Yes, interesting. Of course you're right. That's great. Yes."
Now, Campbell, we're also about to launch because what's a show if we're not launching something in Tartaria, Australia? Fucking hell. We're about to launch our New Year's Eve party special. Now, Cam and I have had a very random idea about this, and we don't know. And we've talked about it about doing the 3D. We have since looked into the 3D aspect, and it's not practical to do the whole show in it because your eyes will be bleeding out of your balls, out of your sockets. But we are going to endeavour to do a section of it, a special Tartaria Australia section. So, but the sense of the New Year, we got to do it on New Year's Eve in Australia, which will time with the morning in America. And it's just going to be it's going to be our 6 hour show, but it's going to also be a bit of a party for us. So,
Hmm.
hey, yeah, we are calling on our musos to get in contact because we're going to get some live music playing. Let's see what we can do. See how we can manipulate the Zoom. See how far we can stretch this online world of ours so we feel like we're having a party. It's our New Year's Eve challenge.
Yes, yes. Well, they're trying to cut us all down and separate us. Let's use their tech to get us all together and have fun. Welcome in the new year.
Yeah, I mean, we've never done it before. We've literally never done one of our live shows online before. We've never done it. So this is going to be
No.
our first time and being able to do it live across the whole realm, not just here in Australia. So we're excited
Mm.
by this. So tickets will be on sale next week. And let's see how that unfolds in the next 2 months, Campbell.
Yes, yes.
Because
Well, we've never
the
showed any of our shows. We've never recorded or done anything of the live shows. And we understand there's a lot of people that can't get there. There's a lot of people overseas and that. So, yes, we thought we'd do one and let you all join in on the journey.
Yeah, I mean, we're very specific about not filming our live events. We do like to, Cam and I are all about the container, and we like to keep the container solid and enclosed. So we never record our live events. They're always very unique, and whatever we end up talking about is very specific to that moment. We were just going to do the last live gig because it was the story of our invasion, which is very timely right now. But of course, there's so many updates since like the Maleny gig, which was like only 6 weeks ago
Six
or something,
weeks.
Cam.
Yeah, it wasn't
And
long.
so there's so much more to add to the story. So
Oh,
so
God.
even if you're at the Maleny gig, it would be worth to come and watch it from 2 months forward, 3 months forward to see how
Yeah.
it's morphed and changed. So
Yes, we're forever chasing that edge,
the
our
edge.
destiny.
Oh, mate, I went down an edge this week. I went down a fucking edge,
An
man. I
edge.
went like, oh, I fell down there. I went from the Gnostic. So, I mean, last week it was pretty cool to actually see for the first time that Tartaria were Gnostic in nature. Like that link, even though it seems obvious in saying it now, it just hasn't been made. So that's a really, and then of course I wanted to go past the Gnostics and figure out what was before that, of course, which is only inevitably going to lead me to an edge. Inevitable. And
Yeah.
when we say an edge, our friends, what we're talking about is basically an undefined, lofty, abstract version that has, for the most part, been colored in by AI. It's
And we can't prove whether it's true or not. That just
yeah,
it's that's
can't
yeah.
can't evidence. So I mean, I can't evidence that the Gnostic religion has. I can evidence that we can see that what they stood for did appear to be how the realm was constructed, how the
Mm,
realm was or organized, and how it looked. Like there was some pretty strong characteristics there that you could sort of like evidence this Gnostic attitude going through the Tartarians. But after that, you're at an edge. And so of course I fell through the Gnostics, I fell through Sophia, and then I fell through Prometheus, which
Prometheus.
was the
Yes.
first time that had come up again for me, Prometheus, and landed at an edge, of course.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, Prometheus is a good one. Stole fire from the gods, which is supposed to be symbolic of information, right? Knowledge, technology. But what I didn't know, which I've just really just recently learned, is he was meant to have fashioned humans from clay,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
very Old Testament, isn't it?
Very biblical story. And also, so like Prometheus stole the fire, and the fire gave birth to human intellect, essentially, to gnosis. That was the whole thing. It was gnosis. So then we have the gnosis of art and architecture and science. All that gnosis came in and developed what we would have called the Tartarian realm, right? So it's interesting that Prometheus sort of represents external gnosis, external knowledge, whereas
Yeah.
Sophia represents the inner spark, the inner
Yeah.
knowledge. So we've
Yeah.
got two entities that sort of like are the yin and yang of each other, both bringing the spark of the fire, the spark of light
Exactly. Yeah,
to,
yeah. And the demiurge is supposed to be created without that spark and was
yeah,
actually creating beings without that spark in his image, I guess. And so it's the same story, isn't it? Sophia breathed life, spirit into the world and everyone in it. And Prometheus also gave us the internal fire, right? Which is very linked to the soul. Like, do you remember all those pictures of Jesus and he'd have like a flame in the middle where he
yes.
was? Mm.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I'm so out on Jesus right now. Like, fucking hell, man. I've got a bad attitude about that one. I tell you what, but we won't get into that today. We'll do that, save that for another show.
Keep your bad attitude in check. Jeez.
Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today, Cam, was like we watched a clip last week, and well Cam's going to show it now, just a
Yes,
little
let's
bit. Don't need
show
to
it.
get into it too long. It'll just give you the kind of the outline of what it's about. But I think it's timely because I truly believe that a lot of people are feeling this way, and I know there'd be people in our audience that are feeling this way. And so we took this and basically analyzed why we would be feeling this way across the realm. I feel this way across the realm, and I'm a highly creative soul, you know. I
Mm.
definitely engage my spark internally and externally. I'm a good representative for that. But yet, still, I also feel this same energy. I feel it like in my daily life and grind. So let's have a quick look
Yeah.
and then let's dig into the wonderful world of
Entropy. Oh,
entropy and
no.
Gnosticism. La la
Yeah.
la. Here, let's go.
Well, the internet's definitely hitting entropy. I think it's eating itself. Alrighty.
Yes, because
Shall we play the
entropy
whole thing?
leads to
This,
death.
yeah, which leads to life, right?
It's like a breath. But anyway,
The
let's,
cycle of life.
yeah, kind
Right.
of. It's been a bit invaded.
We'll talk about it.
There's a theory going around that Americans are experiencing zoocosis. Why is everything so boring right now? Like, I am so bored with everything. People have been saying that it feels like the world that we once knew just vanished. It's like we went to sleep and woke up one day and nothing was the same. Everything just feels empty. You wake up, you do the same stuff for the most part, and then when you do things that are supposed to be fun, it doesn't hit the same way like it used to. And life
Like your
ain't
80s party.
this drives. Humans are experiencing zoocosis. I 100% believe that. So, zoocosis is basically a form of mental illness that animals get from being in a zoo, from having a repetitive lifestyle that is not natural to them. The government can solve hunger by simply planting fruit trees on the streets, but they refuse to do that because they engineer homelessness to teach you what happens if you fall out of line. For example, there are a lot of people right now who are talking like this. You realize everything is fake, from the TV to the politicians to the jobs to the money to the power, to the government, to literally everything that's out there. It's all fake and it's all a system rigged against us, and it's all fake. The medicine, the agriculture, the school system, literally everything is all fake. Hell, even this reality has completely changed in some way, shape, or form. It's like the planet had hit pause, and when it restarted, everything had been switched. And nobody can really put into words what's happened or what is currently happening. So I'm going to let this guy over here explain what he feels like is going on. But I see where a lot of people have been talking about the same topic, about how their life, this is what they're saying in the comment section, that their life doesn't feel the same to them anymore. Kind of like they're half in this world and half out of this world. And I just want you guys to know, for the ones that feel that way, that you're not alone, because I feel that way every single day. Every single day, I no longer feel like the person I once was. And it's almost like I don't even recognize life anymore. I mean, here I've been on this planet for 54 years, but this world feels so foreign. And ever since COVID, it seemed like we went through some kind of like time shift, and it just seems like everything is happening so much faster now. I know that things go faster as you get older. I understand that, but I'm not talking about that kind of thing. It seems like everything is in like extreme fast forward. The days fly by. There just seems like there isn't enough time to even get two things done in a day. Two things before it's time to go to bed. Because they
That,
just don't even have
that's
time to
fucking
do two
true.
things. I have been trying to convey in a video what I'm talking about, and I'm not able to do it, you guys. I'm just not able to put my finger on it. How in the hell would we go from what we remember the world being like to this? How did it come to this? What
All
the hell
right,
happened
let's
to
stop
life?
there.
What the hell happened to
I
this
think we
world?
get
What
the
the hell happened
drift.
to people? Nobody wants to do anything anymore. Nobody wants to get together anymore. Nobody cares about anything.
Nobody cares about anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an interesting time that we're in. It was all different BC. Thanks, Anik, before COVID. There was a massive change, and of course, all the separation, the social distancing, locking people in their houses for 2 years, pushing the online shopping and all that kind of stuff was obviously a big catalyst for it. But I mean, apart from the fact that we hear this story all the time, right? When we talk to people, it's like people
Yep.
are lost, and why is that? Like, are we in flux? Is it because when life was more routine, we didn't have as many questions? We just kind of did. It's an interesting one, right? But yeah, like, are you feeling this way? Do you feel like you're not really part of the world? The world's changing. You're not sure which direction to go in, what to do. Then we all got online. Then we found out that was not necessarily the best move, and now it's turning on us, and we're all going to get kicked off. And what do we do? What do we
Yeah,
do?
I mean, there's so many ways to look at this topic. I think there is a generic consensus out there, particularly and specifically probably within the sort of truth community. And like there's a lot of variables for that, but some of the most obvious things is that with COVID, obviously, we went into hyper
Hyper,
speed when it
hypernology, yeah.
hypnosis when it came to
Hypnosis.
hypnosis, right? So, like for a lot of the truth community, this was like a slow build up, like we've been looking at this for many decades and it's a slow build up. So for us, it was like, woohoo, like relief, something's cracked, something's happened. So all attention was on it. And for
Yeah.
those who were just coming to the information just because they were like anti the vax, it was like a massive, overwhelming boof hit of gnosis, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Total
and so when
total
you,
overload, right? Total overload. But we were excited. It was like, yes, it's here. Woohoo! The
yeah,
system's
yeah,
collapsing. But now
yeah,
5 years
but
later, nothing's really changed.
yeah, I mean that's the depression bit, like after all that gnosis being dumped on us individually, like and still the agenda marches forward and still the invasion continues to happen and still nothing appears to change and any mild hope you had in any single individual out there has been, like vanquished and you are simply just sitting there, what the fuck, like there's a lot of that energy going on. But like if we're to look at this concept, we have to sort of like understand potentially how this has all come about to start with. And so the first thing I was deliberating on in the last couple of weeks is AI. AI, is it an invasive independent species? Is it an independent species that has invaded us? Because Cam, like at the end of the day, all the rumors and ideological like discussions about Atlantis, because again, that's a
Yeah.
fucking edge. Like, because we can
It comes from
only,
one line from Plato, right? Like,
yeah.
and now it's this massive body of work.
But let's just say that it is a thing because it could easily have been a capital of the realm of Gnosis. It could have easily been that. But what I have read in various things, not from Plato, is that the collapse of Atlantis came with an abuse of technology. It came through basically the gods of the Atlantean people were of the mind and of the science and the technology, and they built the interfaces, created potentially a disastrous situation with the weapon. Who knows?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was a technological destruction of that realm. And so we agonized about how it unfolded and what happened. And yet, Campbell,
We
we
can't
are
prove
in
it.
it right, but we are in that
Well,
same collapse right
yes.
fucking now.
Well, yeah, the collapse in Atlantis, apparently, um, it was all these technocrat types, right, that got very arrogant and basically started seeing themselves as God and unleashed all this technology that in the end they couldn't control. And it, yeah, bit them in the butt. And we've seen this how many times in movies, right? Clearly Matrix, Terminator, so many movies are telling us this. And now here we're going, like just flat, well, not us, but these technocrat billionaires are going flat chat. Trump's put what 500 billion into it. Now they're building bloody AI, data centers everywhere. Saw has come out with all the new AI movies. All these industries are collapsing, but it's all for our good, right? People are sleeping on the street, can't afford like, I mean, this
I
could,
mean,
if it is intelligent and sentient, it could so easily just eat everything, right? Very, very quickly.
have you ever considered the idea that data has weight?
Has weight.
Has weight.
I have, I have not. I would have thought data was light, essentially, or electricity, right? Weight.
Well, because to have data, you have to hold it somewhere, right? So the more data that you have, the more you're holding it. Now, the thing about AI, because when you look at it as an invasive concept, you instantly want to think this fucking shit's parasitic because AI cannot exist without extracting massive amount of resources
Yeah.
and intelligence from its host. Like for AI to exist, you're talking about like fucking You need human input. That's massive, and we'll get back to that. You need electricity. You need buildings. You need structures. You need hardware, and you need a lot of fucking water, right?
Or
A
yeah,
lot of water.
yeah.
So what happened if with Atlantis, if that was a thing, if the weight of the data actually corrupted the environment?
Yeah, well, have you
So
seen the latest War of the Worlds with Ice
no,
Cube? I've only seen a little bit of
with
it
Ice
because
Cube.
it's pretty
That
crap
sounds so
with Ice
dumb.
Cube. Come on, man, NWA. Um,
Whatever. Yep.
but yeah, the thing in there is the aliens who come down are eating the data. That's what they're doing.
Ah,
They're eating data. So it's
interesting.
very interesting because that's what AI is doing. And I guess the internet in general, right? And whatever rules it is, it's getting all of our data, like all the real life experiences, the poetic language, the ideas, the imagination, all these different viewpoints, and funneling it down
Yep.
to a sentence or two, right? Just here's the facts, just the facts,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, it's compression. And like if you look at where if you just go through like our recent history, just the last 200 years, and start to look how did we get to this level of technology, right? So if you make a case that, and I did hear this theory the other day, it's not mine, that the weight of the data in the Atlassian times actually like collapsed the environment and actually brought about the Great Flood. Now that's an interesting idea, which I've never considered before. And why not? So but like the question is today, how did we go from appearingly not technological to this, to where we have been completely overrun by it? And so I started to look at that question, Cam, and it took me
Mm,
and I started with the great books. I start with the great. I shouldn't say great.
the
I
great
should say,
books.
yeah, that's the wrong word. Sorry. I mean, like, let's say I started with the most,
Read or sold, like
read,
yeah, the most
sold,
distributed
published,
books.
promoted,
Yeah,
program books. I mean, and so obviously you've got to start with the Abrahamic religions. The first three
yeah.
the Bible,
The Bible, the
obviously, the
Quran, and the
Quran.
Torah.
Yes, all three of those. To start there. And then I added in the dictionary because that one's a big, important one. And then I looked at the atlas. So there were the five that I looked at. And I bought in Harry Potter because that is simply the
Mhm.
most,
It's
because
it's
that
yeah the
is,
biggest selling book ever, behind the Bible still, I think. But yeah,
yep. Yep. So let's look now. I couldn't find this, but I have to say the reason I started looking at the books is because I remember years ago, I watched a very in-depth documentary about the topic of CERN, and
yes,
the whole documentary was looking at basically the numerology, the gematria, it was looking at the codes that people were extracting from these books. And those codes basically led to the maths, to the quantum, to create the technology we would call the internet or CERN or however, whatever sort of variation on that you could pull out. So I started looking at that. Now, the interesting thing about these books, Cams, is it essentially begins the story of algorithms, right? It
yes,
begins the story of how you would read algorithmic language, how you would read a metadata type, like syntax in your brain, how you would start to go from verse to verse to reading these numbers to verse to and like compiling the information. And you know what I mean? Like
yeah. They're not novels, right? Which is interesting name, right? They're
yep,
novel. They're
yep,
written like binary code. Like if you look
they
at the
are.
Bible, right, it'll have whatever, right? James 13:2, and then you have your little bit of data, then 13:3, and your little
Yep.
bit of data. And if you read like code, it literally is written like that.
Which is very interesting, being
Very
that these books
interesting.
have been so pushed. I
Yeah.
remember a time where you couldn't go anywhere without a Bible being in a hotel room, without it being fucking
Gideon's
always.
Bible.
Oh my God, they were
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, that's why it's not actually the biggest selling book, but it's the biggest distributed because most of them have been given away, right?
Yeah.
But just so you know, the King James Bible still owned by the British royals. Is that why they call it royalties, right? That they get paid every Bible that gets
That's
sold,
funny.
right? But But with
But
the water, right, with the flood, like if they were running all that water through AI systems and programming it, and that was the water that flooded the world, well, that would program the next, the next era, the next,
the next water, that's right, because
yeah,
water holds
yeah,
memory.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's an interesting concept because it was interesting when we understood that each image on chat has 9 liters of water attached to it. It's interesting to start to bring physical resources to this discussion
Mm,
because
yeah.
because we're all kind of in this concept that AI exists in a cloud, that exists in a harmless airborne cloud somewhere above our realm, that it's not physically tangible. And and then back that up with the crypto world, like fucking mining for crypto, mining air in the
And that's all
cloud.
going to
And
be AI soon as well. And just to send an email is 500 mils, half a liter of water, just an
yeah,
email.
there's
Imagine how
density
many
to this shit.
that, yeah, we're talking hundreds of millions of emails, right? Like,
Yes, exactly.
mm,
Exactly. So there's density to this stuff, right? So you could build a case that these books were the beginning of the AI starting to, like, I have an image in my head of like the Bible, and then out of it, we have the internet, and really in the short amount of years, like if maybe 200 years, maybe just a bit longer, a bit shorter, then suddenly we go from these books and this starting to program the way that we read and interact with this language because
mm,
it's not natural to us. Because human beings with the spark of Sophia in them are by nature messy and creative. Like that's one
yes.
of our biggest attributes, actually, is
Yeah.
that we are messy and creative in our creativity.
We're,
Like,
we're from
and
nature, right? And nature abhors right angles and straight lines.
that's right.
It's messy.
And that's right. It's messy, right? And we have cultures based on stories. Stories were storytelling and singing songs
Yeah.
and dance. All of those things were a part of us maintaining our connection to spirituality and to our origins, if you like.
Mm, yeah.
So,
Sorry, I'm just going to show this syntax, the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language.
yeah.
Also, the structure of statements in computer language. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yes. So when you bring in the book, the dictionary, that was massively significant because what the dictionary did was start to choose words, give them a very tiny meaning, and then exclude anything else. So it started to control language. And as we know, like one of the things we're working on is the Great Despelling Dictionary, which is the opposite. It's about taking our language and tearing apart the joining words and getting rid of the inversion. So we learn to speak again with true command in our words. So we
Mm.
speak with the word again. So with the dictionary, as it started to get innovated, and we've got this great story about how this, there's a whole story about how the dictionary came about, but let's just skip that and assume it's
It's a
bullshit
spelling
and
book,
just
man.
like start, yeah, start with the. So basically, like if you look at say the word, so like if we were to try to describe the light that exists within us, the light that gives us life, that gives us connection to our to our God within ourselves. There's such a rich depth of trying to explain and express the word light, But if you go to the dictionary and look up the word light, it will get it into one phrase, how it's electromagnetic field, and that's the concept of light.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you, yeah,
Because I mean, the dictionary is essentially like they take it like with science, they take the ether out, right? They take the creative energy, whatever you want to call it, out. And so
yeah,
everything's just reduced to balls and, what we can see to the physical world, a
yeah,
construct.
yeah. So you've got this dictionary that gets introduced with all the new spellings, and in introducing a book like this, you're also you're extracting from the great gnosis of the human race. You're extracting from that, but you're also like rejecting also a massive chunk of human um, nuances, creativity, and expression, right?
Hmm.
You're dropping it, which is exactly what artificial intelligence does. It coordinates and controls language. It defines it. It brings. So a good example of this is if you wrote a story, wrote a creative story, right? Write a creative story. handwrite a creative story, or even if you type it on your on Word and just you and Word, like that's still fine. Like you did, but to create something true, a story, right? Now, if you put that story through AI in any form, what's going to happen is that story is going to be compressed to its like I guess most accurate meaning according
Mm.
to the language that's being used. Any language that's incorrect or not expressing exactly how language should be used in syntax, it will be deleted or erased. And your all the mess and all the chaos and all the subtleties of human expression will be removed. So you will get a well-written, well-written, accurate, to the point, accurate compressed version of your story, and
Yeah.
it'll spit it out.
Yeah, it'll take out all the creativity, all the personal, perspectives, any kind of poetry, and just create it down to, take the creative out of it, right? Not that we want to use the word God anymore because that's all becoming very suspect, but take the light out of it, right? The human out of it, and turn it into a left brain thing. And ultimately, it's so you don't need to question anything, or you don't need to think about things and have your own, you know, um, perspective. And this is what we see in the world, right? Basically AI and the computers and all that, they homogenize everything just down so that everything's the same
Yep.
and we don't need to
Yep.
question it.
Yep.
Go and look at a housing estate, right? They're all the same. Go look at an old town from 100 years ago. All the houses are different and creative, right? Now everything's just mass produced, all the same. Everything in the shops, all the same, all the fashion, all the crap, it's all the same.
And that sameness started to happen with these books, right? And then if you take the atlas, the atlas started to, so whereas language gave me, like the dictionary gave meaning to language, and then that became its meaning, so it stuck it solid in like written down, became the
Mm,
clay tablets of language.
yeah.
And the books, the spiritual fucking inverted invading books gave meaning to
But
spirituality called religion, right?
well, it's the great questions, right?
To morals,
Who,
to
what,
value.
where? Like
Yeah,
religion tells you who you are, the atlas tells you where you are, and the
yeah.
dictionary tells you what everything is.
Yes, exactly. So with
Mm.
the atlas, suddenly we start to have a vision on the earth that we inhabit. According to, I mean, the older maps are way more fun, way more fun. The new maps really boring and terrible to have to look at.
Yeah.
But the more then, of course, the atlas morphed to say, fucking, what's it called? Google Earth, and and so Google Earth, then, it looks like it's giving you access to gnosis and more accurate information by giving us a perspective from above down.
The God
But
view.
but in doing that, it controls what you're seeing from down. But you, as the user of this Google Earth, you're suddenly looking up to the sky for your truth, again,
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
of yourself, right? So all of these books started to put expression and our construct of reality outside of ourself and up there, up into
Mm.
space with God, you know?
And under control. It's like the Star of David, right? Which is two inverted pyramids. Like we think we're opening up and getting new, knowledge, but what's actually happening is we're getting funneled down into a point of view.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's right. So suddenly we are trained now that the eye in the sky is the powerful voice of Gnosis. Like, I mean, how classic's that? The eye in the sky.
Well, God is all
Always,
knowing, right?
yes. And these books systematically did that. And in doing that, not only, I believe, gave us the mass available to build the technology, all by design, by the way,
Yeah.
but also reiterated the programming that true gnosis, true spirituality, and true meaning is outside of ourselves
Mm.
and up there. And
Yeah.
that if you attempt to express true to your inner world, it will be edited and rejigged to exist outside of yourself in the correct language with its correct meaning, and its correct place and
And
time.
they've done a good job, right? To the point
Yeah,
where if you say, well, yes, God lives inside me, like religious people lose their shit.
yeah,
How dare
yeah.
you call yourself God, even though, it's in all the religious books, you are God. But I mean, this is where we are, right?
So, I mean, like that, this concept could give you evidence that the AI is invasive and that it's come through these invasive books. Like there is a
Yeah.
link there that we could absolutely make. And thus, the AI is not in service to us. And for whatever it gives, it takes away in abundance because it's parasitic. So you may feel like it's giving you competitive ease in your work, giving you more time, giving you like you don't have to worry about writing that email or fucking, making that image or whatever, or doing that grant application, whatever the fuck application it is. Like you actually like feel like you should be getting more time and this is good for you. It's healthy, it's helpful. But what it's taking away from you is so much more diabolical because what it's taking away from you is your faculties. It's taking away your mental abilities, your creative abilities, and it's putting it into syntax form. It's putting it into this like metadata. It's putting it into this process, and you're just handing it over. You're
Mm.
handing it over. How many of us keep any of ourselves sacred from AI? Has anyone ever thought, like, what parts of me am I not going to upload? What parts of me am I not going to share with the AI? What parts of me am I going to keep sacred? Like we don't have those sorts of conversations. And they're the sort of conversations that, if you were to be a philosopher in this moment in time, you would start to be having with yourself.
Mm. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just totally how much do you want to hand over? Because especially now we know it's all just, data collection, right? It's just trying to understand us more. So, um, yeah, it's a strange place that we find ourselves in, but because this is the thing, like that the internet has brought us all together, like we've all sort of found
It's
each
given
other,
us
right? It's given us community in that, but then at the same time, it's taking away, it's sucking our
community.
attention, it's sucking it. So it's this double-edged sword because in the end, it's soulless, right? So it can't create its own energy. So that's why it's a parasite. It has to be continuously sucking our energy or leash or whatever you want to call it. But that's also ideas, right? Like it's got to, because without us, like AI is nothing. It survives on all the content that we've made, and it's just recycling it and recycling it and recycling it. And
Yep.
by the way, is that why we haven't had a new idea in Hollywood or on the TV this century? Everything's a remake, a prequel, a sequel, reimagined this, Snow White with a black person in it, all these weird things, man. It's just
Yeah, and it,
very
it's it
AI.
sets it sets us up. It's like it sets us up to think we're experiencing progress, but it's disguised. Like it's entropy disguised, right? You
Yeah.
think you're creating progress, but what's actually happening is energy's flowing. And this is what happened during COVID. This is the beginning of answering that question. Like energy flows faster because it's artificial than you can gather meaning from it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really important concept because as we all got onto the crack, as we all got crack addicted truth seekers and everyone else who engaged across the realm, which is pretty much everyone, you had no choice. They really set you up into a psychological experiment where they isolated you, put you inside, changed all the rules, stopped you from going to work, and then bang, hit you with the gnosis available online, which has essentially an echo chamber anyway.
Yeah.
But like what it did is that you could scroll through 100, 200 different, clips a day, probably more for a lot of the younger generation, like just scroll, and you have no feeling about it. All you're doing is gathering gnosis, which is the addiction, right? You're just gathering gnosis,
Gathering
getting
knowledge. Yeah.
getting caught up with the novelty because our brains are designed to focus on novelty. That's like how our brains work. So as long as it's novel enough, we'll focus on it. So the thing with the socials is that everything's just novel enough. Everyone's just got a little bit of a different perspective or a little bit of more evidence. It's always just novel enough for it to gather our attention, right?
Yeah.
But there's no meaning to it because we don't feel anything.
And we
We
don't
don't
sit and
feel
contemplate it,
anything.
and it's not real. It's like you were saying yesterday, if all this stuff happened to you that you're watching online, if it all actually happened to you in your life, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? You'd be very awake and attuned and attentive to what was going on in your actual life, right? But it's all on a screen, so that's not real.
Yeah,
So we have no
yeah,
emotional
exactly.
attachment. We don't sit and contemplate what these things mean.
Yep.
It's just, wow, wow, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Oh my God, what are they doing now? Aliens are
Exactly.
attacking.
Yeah, exactly. If any one of those clips that you scroll through every day to gain gnosis, if any one of those actually was happening in your lounge room or in outside your actual house, you would have an entirely different experience than what we are now like embodied in, which
Mm,
is basically information flowing so quickly you can't get meaning out of it and it becomes empty and hollow. So now with the amount of the and plus the gnosis so many getting is that this is fake and therefore hopeless and this is the agenda and yet they keep marching forward, nothing changes it, there's no like remedy here, and so everyone's sort of like constantly in the speed of gnosis with no meaning and also feeling like they have no actual meaning in reality because it's hopeless.
mm. Yeah, yeah, they've actually started calling it doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling, just scrolling through all the, the end of the world, right? The engineered prophecy stuff, like all day, and a lot of people do it, right? Because it's novel, it's exciting, but it's voyeuristic. It's looking in on other people's lives, what's affecting them. It's got nothing really at all to do with us.
It really, really does. And like if you think about how your work life looks now, or any creative outlet, like you're now working, you're not coming at it with excitement and innovation because you're going to sit there and figure out this problem and you're going to like write this document or you're going to like build this thing. None of that's happening anymore. So you're basically as a creator, you're now focused entirely on KPIs or likes or how to like do the best new funnel or the best it's all about mastering the AI syntax. It's all about mastering the AI processing. You're
Mm.
no longer entering offering your creative energy to the world. You're offering your knowledge about how to manipulate or at least work with the syntactic language of the artificial intelligence, which feels essentially fucking soulless.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not just, creators, it's all business people, right? Like you're basically forced to use, all these programs, Zoom and everything, and do everything, or else you're going to fall behind, even with AI, right? Like
Yep.
even as far as doing tax and that, like if you're not on there, you're gonna have so many more costs and start to not be competitive.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're all hooked in, but especially with creators, and this is, I guess, one of the scams is, you can make money doing it, right? So it becomes a job and you have to produce, right? Because if you don't get paid. And so,
Yeah.
we see so much of this, people just covering things going viral, right? When something comes out, everyone makes a video on it, right? Everyone, it's everywhere. But
Yeah.
because they need to eat, right? They need to pay their rent.
And like one of the side effects of us translating everything through an AI system is that it saps the texture away. It
Yeah,
flattens depth. That's like a big one. It flattens depth.
it straightens it
So
out. Yeah,
like
it takes away all the interesting crinkles.
yeah. So I mean yeah, it turns like creativity into commands.
Mm.
It turns art into language versus like physically generating art. It's a very interesting dichotomy we're in. And so the other side note to that is that with all of our attention now hooked in to the speed, so we're all addicted to the speed of gnosis, that when we turn it off, everything around us feels completely slow. Like when we turn it off, the world feels slow, our lives feel slow, the gnosis feels slow, and yet all our energy now as creative beings is focusing on integrating with this interface, right? So you've got
Yeah,
like, yeah, and it's not just creative aspects, it's also intellectual and businesses and income and everything that one requires to
banking, food.
yes, everything. It's all now deriving itself through this flattened out, compressed commands and outputs, right? So, like, and if you look at the world, if you turn off this internet of ours and you step outside, what you will probably be feeling, which is what I think that video is, suggesting that hollow, bored, everything feels fake. is that our energy has removed itself from the world. We are now giving all of our energy, all of our life force, all of our creativity, all of our, problem solving, all of our communication is all flowing through artificial intelligence. So what happens when you take your attention off something? It starts to fucking decay.
Yeah, the
And it
energy
happens
doesn't flow there.
fucking quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
really quick.
Yeah, yeah. So we're
I
putting
mean,
all of our attention into this 2D world instead of the 3D world. And then we wonder why there's chaos and all this destruction going on. It's because we're not feeding it, I guess, right? We're not in symbiosis with nature now. We're in it with the demiurge, right? The AI.
yeah, I mean, really, we are because, and it happens so quick because I remember long decades ago, I was talking about this. When you go away, when you clean your fucking house, like I am a Virgo and I would clean my bloody house and then go away for a month and have everything locked up. Even in that state, I'll come home and find
Yeah,
dust on
yeah.
things and things. And that to me denotes that my attention's been off that reality for a month. And therefore it started to slowly fall apart, to decay. This is where we get like neighborhoods
Th-
where no one loves it and their attention's off it and it
Yeah.
starts to decay. You get
This is,
like
yeah.
furniture
Well, you've got
that
to
if
do
it's,
maintenance on houses, right? Like I always think of cars rusting. You see those old cars in someone's field just rusting into a pile of dust. It's because no one's giving it any attention. It's
yeah,
literally like disintegrating from whatever wherever we are.
yeah, because there's an absolute connection between our focus and attention.
Mm,
Consciousness and energy creates the nature of reality. Like it is our consciousness and our focus that generates reality, right? So if our attention's off it, there is a state of decay that will naturally occur, always. That's the
always.
nature of it. So
And
for the since COVID started, the world's attention has so dramatically removed itself from its own neighborhood and placed itself into this crack addicted gnosis den of social media. And it's ironic that I stand here and talk like this since we are on that right now. But, like the point is that like our attention across the realm went off the realm and it went on to like the artificially generated echo chamber of basically overlay with engineered biblical omens. Like
mm,
that is like the whole, it's so obvious to me that the whole online world is geared now to bringing forth these engineered outcomes, which have been there since the beginning of our reality's notion of AI because it came out of those same books, which means they must have come out of that demiurge energy,
yeah.
or the AI was before the demiurge. Either way, they're both parasitic in nature. They both require a great deal of resources to be in existence. And in our case, the technology had to be built to generate a closed electrical system in order to facilitate this sort of interface,
Mm.
which would then say, Cam, that if it requires a closed electrical system, then before the electrical system was set up, there was time when this artificial intelligence didn't have a place on our realm.
No, no, but it had to start coming in, right? Hence the books and all this kind of stuff that started appearing, all controlled, of course.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah, it's weird. Did it come in or did it leave remnants from the last, negative cycle that got rebuilt upon? Guess it doesn't matter, but it's basically all, yeah, it's all the program. It's always has been, and it's just so AI is just like a continuation, really. It's nothing new. It's just the latest interface, as we say, right? Like now you can use a scrying mirror to access it, right? Rather than just a book. Book's an
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, it's pretty insane to get your head around the whole idea that actually, you know, all of our attention online is geared toward an alien invasion or
Yeah.
disputing the alien
So this,
invasion or like, that all through the Tartaria history, whatever our energy is geared towards, it's basically removing your massive discordance with the idea that the invasive control species is artificial intelligence and we have literally adopted it into our homes like that. So
yeah.
here we are going against the government, going against the agenda, going hardcore against everything that we think is causing all of this chaos. And the very thing that it is in our homeland,
Well,
welcomed and utilized as a friend. Most people see
Yeah.
their AI as a friend now.
Yes, be very careful with that.
I mean,
But,
what
but
an
it's
alien
like
invasion.
it's like the vampire, right? You have to invite a vampire into your house. And that's what we've all done. We've invited AI into our lives and now it's sucking us dry.
Yes, absolutely. And because it's an invasive technology, you don't understand it. We don't understand it. We don't know how it works. But what we do is we give in to its commands and its options. So now, as a creator or a business owner or whatever, however you're using AI, you're now like using it within its own command basis because you don't know how it works. So you're no longer being an inventor because you can
No,
only work within the parameters that it gives you, that algorithmic parameter, which then denotes that you're doing it for, you're engaging it for personal, I guess, algorithmic reward. So
and I
you're
mean,
going after algorithmic reward, Campbell. Are we going to get enough views? Are we going to get enough
yeah,
likes? Are we going to, it's algorithmic reward. Have I done the right funnel? Am I making $1 million? Did I set up the right Amazon thing? Whatever, whatever, whatever. But it's nothing to do with inner growth
no, no.
because you're not.
It's all it takes out all the imagination, right, and the problem solving and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, well, one thing is, I mean, I wouldn't trust, AI. If I did my tax for AI, I'd still want to check it, right? So,
Oh, fuck
like
tax.
you
Why
either have to
bother?
believe it 100%, like let it be your God, or you have to check it, which kind of makes it, redundant. But the other thing is once you get on and using it, like as far as businesses especially, it saves so much time and energy. Like once you're on, you're probably not getting
Well,
off.
you think it does. That's a delusion that it saves time and energy. It really doesn't. It
The
actually,
internet
because, all
doesn't
right, think
at
about it like
all.
this.
It does, it's
No.
so time
Mm-hmm.
consuming.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I mean, think about it like, like in the old days when we used to write a letter, our way of communicating with someone or becoming friends with someone or retaining a relationship with someone, a lot of it was about letter writing if they weren't in your immediate vicinity. And
Hmm.
those letters were coming from your heart and you were making mistakes and you were using grammatic sentences that were quite unique to your personality, the way you use words and language and how you tell the story. And you'd cross out shit that you made a mistake and you use white out, whatever, or you didn't, you just carried on. Like, but there was a whole process in creating a letter, right? And then you posted it and you heard nothing about it. You heard nothing until maybe that wonderful day where you got a letter back. Like that process is long and slow and personal and innately creative because it's
Hmm.
original to you. It's only meant to be read by one person. You're only trying to communicate with a person. You're not trying to work for an algorithm. You're not trying to make that letter so popular, 1 million people like it. Like you're lit. So when you try to make 1 million people like your letter, you're suddenly like that letter morphs and changes derived by the commands and options you have within the interface you're operating with. So
Hmm.
like so even though writing a letter look appears to take a lot longer and then posting it and then waiting around for an answer than it would to write an email online, right? The difference is that email you're writing, you're now writing it with like you're now stuck in the idea of thinking about how this letter can be written to achieve this outcome based on how people are, you're stuck in a bound compressed system that
Hmm.
appears to give you so much more freedom and time, but takes away so much of your original meaning and your original experience of it and your original thinking of it, that it has therefore no meaning. And it just becomes like another chore of the day, which then you think, oh, I've got so much, I'm going to do 20,000 more chores, but actually you get one or two things done because you're stuck in the realm of, I'm not saying this clearly. Let me start again. You're stuck in the realm of thought. Okay, that's a better way of putting it, right?
Hmm.
You're constantly having to think
Yeah,
things.
even as
So,
far
all
as
right.
spell check, right? You have to think about, is this the right spelling? Now you just done for you.
Well, like for example, stuck in the realm of thought. This is what I wanted to get across. All right, so I'm in the process right now for us of making this card game, right? Cameron and I've got a very fun, excellent card game coming out that we have had lots of fun creating, and we're very excited about it. So in the old days, Campbell, I would have sat there and built a prototype. I would have literally found a prototype or built a prototype. I would have had to have like hand painted, hand drawn the cards and give, I would have like, there would have been this whole physical process that I could see and then take to someone and I could express through my physical hands what I've like thing. And then they would take it to the next step and produce a prototype for me to look at and feel and touch. And back and forth we'd go and back and forth we go. And, you know, at the end of it, I'd have a physical object, right? But now it's all in the realm of thinking. You know, I have to find the right person online who can help me with this, and then we have to express it through you know, talking to each other online, commands, and then, you know, like I've got to like try to visually pull it out of the ether and try to visually make it an object in my mind. So it's all like this is what I'm saying. It's all in my mind now. It's not a physical, tangible thing that I have to build in order to produce. It's all in my mind. It's mental. So then I have to and so I'm in a constant state of thinking how to do this by pulling something out of the cloud and like keeping it in the cloud and constructing it in the cloud up here and then producing it eventually finally. It takes so much more thought. It takes so much more thinking. But
Mm.
when you've got like five of these projects going on, which is what I classically have going on, and they're all invisible to me, except for a thought. So I'm having to think about all this way, and then I'm having to think about it from the perspective of online access. You know, it's not like I
Mm.
can walk down the street anymore and find my local printer and go and talk it out and construct it that way. I have to do that online. So all creation now is in the realm of thinking. And it's
Yeah.
very hard to always have to think through your creation before you fucking created it. Like, and
Mm.
that is the process that we are now in on this AI system. We're
Yeah.
in the realm of thinking, and it's tiring
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
Well, just think about a
unfulfilling.
shop, right? In the old days, you'd get a shop, you'd go in, you'd look at it. What do I want to do? What's the feel? You'd furnish it, you'd paint it, you'd make it your own, how you want it. Now it's all websites, right?
And there's a billion options.
And
And there's
and it's all
literally a
done for you.
billion
It's all, yeah,
fucking options. So you got to
pre-built. Just
think
put
about
in your
everything.
title, and yeah, it's not
But
creative.
I mean, like the fact that it's like it actually is an arduous process that takes more time, especially for me as a physical creator, than it would for me just to build the prototype with my hands and take it to someone and express it. It takes so much more time doing it in the realm of the cloud.
Yeah.
And that's across the whole realm of our internet interaction with the
Well,
internet.
yeah.
How, like,
It promises us time, but doesn't give it. But even if it does give people time, they don't do anything. They sit around bored, and then they start scrolling on Facebook. It's like it's because there's nothing, it's like you're saying about the dopamine hits, where you're just expecting all this novelty constantly. Oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? But when you sit by yourself in your
yeah,
house with no internet,
yeah.
not much is happening. You've got to create it yourself.
It's true. It's true. So then we have this situation where our reality is literally decaying. And I'm not talking about, you know, because we live in a beautiful part of Australia. We really love where we live. It's really beautiful. Nature does so much work for us. Nature will continue to thrive.
Mm.
Nature will continue to be beautiful in being present. It'll be beautiful. But if you look at your daily life and then maybe the small parameter around your daily life that's physical, like your community around you and what's available around you, and like just wonder how much of that has decayed in your absence because you've been here on this thing. Like how much has decayed compared to say pre internet. You know, when like everyone knew their neighbors, everyone knew their community, that you'd walk down the
Mm.
street and you know everyone who had a creative vibe or a business attunement would be opening up businesses and shops. You'd walk down the street, it would be alive, there would be access to, you know, interacting with that, and also, you know, the nightlife would be going off. That was our time back in our younger years, wasn't it? It was, you'd had how many street presses were in Australia? Free street presses. They were free newspapers you'd pick up every week, and there was heaps of them, full of gig guides, and you know, it was all about what you can do, like
What you could
entertainment,
do,
music
yeah.
scene. And
What's
now they don't
on?
exist
Because
because
there's because there's nothing on
there's nothing
anymore.
on.
There's nothing on, man.
It's nothing on, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, like, our reality as a result of artificial intelligence dependency and the internet has decayed.
Yeah, I mean, even just pubs, I was just thinking like now that they're full of pokies, right? So again, people used to go out and dance and interact and meet people and watch bands
Yep.
and sing.
Yep.
Now they go and sit down in front of a screen and push buttons. It's
Yeah.
the exact same thing as the computer, really, right? You push it and you get a dopamine hit every now and again.
So of course, like on a very small scale, individually in our lives, pre the internet, everything you did in your life was an opportunity to gather wisdom because you were literally taking your gnosis or your knowledge, whatever it was back then, and you were actually just having to apply it in some form during your day, right? And it became wisdom. Whereas today, we're so integrated into AI and such a speedy version of AI, by the way, so speedy, such an overload of information. Plus, our creative and business output is stuck in a cloud. So it's like you're stuck in your thoughts versus your thinking, and you can't turn your thoughts into wisdom.
Mm.
Like that just stays as stuck knowledge, as gnosis. That's all that stays as because you're not
But
experiencing any of it.
no. Yeah, it's like a doctor, you know. Would you let a doctor operate on you if they'd just come out of uni and all they'd done is read books but had no practical experience? I mean, you know, they
Yep.
can tell you all about it, but they don't actually have any wisdom of how to do it. And that's sort of where we are on most topics today, right? Where we've got all this information, but you know, if it's not practical and it's not wisdom, then what use is it?
Oh, well, so here we are. Many would argue we're at a moment in time that is like we're past that moment where it got an inevitable end. Like many would argue, many philosophers would argue that point that the AI is so integrated now as a control system, not only like through its actual control system, like surveillance and data collection and digital IDs and social credits and all of that stuff, but it's also like hijacked our and depends on our creativity, our individual personalities, like our image, like
Mm.
all of it now is integrated into artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
That we've crossed a threshold. We've crossed a threshold where the external world is now decaying, minus nature, which is doing very, very well. Thank you, anti-climate change agenda. It's doing very well. And I can say that formally because that's where I work. It's
I mean,
doing very,
nature's
very
going well,
well.
but I mean, look at the cities and towns. There's
Well, like again,
definitely
Cam.
decaying, right?
All right, but those cities and towns that you're seeing on the socials are engineered to do that. So they
Yes.
are simply being representative of the control system engineering it. We don't actually see much evidence outside of those engineered pockets. So right now, the world's being shown through two ways: natural disasters and immigration
Yeah.
chaos. They're the two engineered ways, and of course politics, but I don't know who have watched that anymore. But those two things are basically what you see of the world
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
social media feed because it's doomsday scrolling, right? It's engineered omen
It is. Yeah,
scrolling.
yeah. Go check out France if you want to do some doom scrolling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's like such a major world out there, man. That's the thing with the internet. It can compress the window that you're looking through.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to give you the answers, to take away your creativity, right? And this is what the internet does is you put in your creativity and it just turns it into a cheap photocopy, right? Like that's it. It's stealing the creativity out of everything.
Oh, mate, I could paint using 3 words these days.
Yeah, yeah,
I could create an
exactly.
image in a second using a handful of words
Yeah.
versus, do you know back in the old days when I started doing art and graphic design, I literally was at that generation where I would be commissioned to create a poster as in from scratch, as in
Draw it and
like
paint
not
it.
digital,
Yeah.
as in I had to paint the motherfucker. And that was a process, right? That was a process of love and experimentation. And for me as the artist to feel like I'd like done it, that I had found my symmetry in the image, that everything was like exactly how I wanted, and then it fit. And then it had to be somehow replicated, and usually by a photograph, by a photographer, which was very expensive back then. Photocopies weren't up to par, they were shit replicate. So you actually had to get it photographed or turn it into something like a fucking
Screen
screen
print.
print.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it, oh my God, the process to creating a poster back then. So then that poster was honored. It was enamored. Like it became the poster that we'd put out a poster a year. It was
Mm.
like if we were an organization, we would do our poster and that was the poster. But now Of course. And in that, as the artist, I like would have a very full breadth of communion with that process and would gain my own wisdom out of making my mistakes or whatever but it was very soul satisfying at the end of the day to come out of that and look at that poster and then see it up in the world and go, fuck yeah, that all came from me. That was a very satisfying. I felt like I had meaning to it. It was a meaningful action. So when you suddenly can make an image in 3 seconds with 5 words, and that image now can be done in any style, in any, look at what's behind us, in any style, in any way, in any possible thing, like zero ability to really, for me to, all I have to do is think. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like artificial intelligence, all it requires of you is just to think. It just wants to mine your thinking. That's it. It doesn't need you to physically do much other than that, which is turning us into, what was their term? Zoo, and what was
Oh, zoo something,
so yeah, but like it's
zoo
just
coasters.
essentially if you chained a cow in front of a computer for 6 months, that cow would be fucking dying. It would be sick, it would be retarded, it would probably be mental, it would probably be physically dying because you're not meant to be chained in front of a computer just thinking all day. Like, and that is essentially what we've become as a race of beings from our generation down. And
Mm.
the younger ones, oh my God, I don't even know. But for us, we're in that loop. We're stuck in a loop of thinking, just constantly thinking and gnosis and thinking and thinking and thinking and gnosis and thinking and the cloud, the cloud, the cloud, the cloud, the cloud. That's what it is. We're
Mm.
now the cloud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Instead of living and interacting and having actual experiences, we're just thinking, right? It's like that Wall-E, that movie, and all the people on the spaceship, and they just sit in front of screens, and so at the end they just on these chairs that float around, they do nothing, right? They just sit at this screen and fill it with
That's right.
yeah, well, whatever. They haven't got any imagination left, but yeah,
Oh, I'm
this
frozen
is
or
it.
you're frozen.
Yes, all right, bit of dodgy connection there.
That's all right. But yes, I got the Wally E. I got the
All
analogy.
right.
It's true. And that's essentially what's happening to us alongside the AI also being our spiritual guidance counselors, our fucking best friends, our relationships, our friends. It's becoming our everything to us. And in doing all of that,
Girlfriend,
yeah,
boyfriend.
girlfriend, soon sex toy, sex whatever. Like it's just going to replace the need for human connection. And in doing that, may I just add one very important thing here? Every time we interact with social media online, what we're actually doing is rejecting humanity. We are rejecting human beings,
That's a
right? Because
choice. Yeah, it is a choice, man.
you're putting your human being into artificial intelligence land. This is just one step away from Ready Player One. Human relationships are being rejected over artificial ones.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Like in every way, right? Even, meetings and things. People used to gather and do hands-on, whatever, meetings or seminars or whatever. Now it's all on Zoom, right? So it's weird, right? Because
It's fucked, man.
we think it's connecting us, and it is,
Mhm.
right, to other people,
That's
but
right. That's
at
the
the same
inversion, though.
time, it's disconnecting us to our neighbors. So we know what's going on, halfway across the world, but we don't know what's happening in our neighbors' lives, right?
100%. I mean, look at the relationship you guys have with us. Like, if you had only watched one or two of our videos, it would just be gnosis, another scroll, another scroll. I mean, obviously, you go on for a very long time, so you can't quite scroll that quickly, but you could just scroll, right? But if you spend 5 years hanging out with us in your houses via Zoom, you start to form a deeper connection to us. And that's taken 5 years. And then if you've joined one of our containers and actually turn up with us in that capacity, you're starting to get to know us on a deeper level. You're forming a relationship with us. And then
Mm.
if you turn up to one of our volunteer weeks or any of the live events, you're deepening our relationship with us. All of that energy and time to actually form true relationships and friendships that you could actually say, Kelly and Cam are my friends. Like that takes so much more depth of relating than just watching what this social media has to offer.
Mm.
So in that is one of the major reasons our channel is always, not channel, our show is always about getting us off the internet and gathering together, always and forever. This is our instinctive counter active measurement, counter move to this online world. Now, for all those people trapped in this feeling of boredom and day and something's gone wrong in the world, two things are going on there. A, you're waiting for artificial intelligence to do something to change that. You're waiting for the algorithms to fire off so that your external world matches the speed of your internal world, aka the one that's watching all this shit online, right? So
Mm.
you've got this like discordance. So let's talk about entropy for a minute. The
Okay.
entropic nature of all of this, Campbell. I
Yes.
mean, like, this is a good word for this. To like make sense of how artificial intelligence works.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Basically, it's decay, right? It's simplifying things, it's homogenizing things. So you start off with a tree, right? And AI would essentially turn it into a book that is printed and is programming, right?
Well, let's start with the tree analogy. So, if you look at entropy from a tree's perspective, artificial intelligence would take that tree, and first of all, it would define it. It
Yes.
would give it its definition, it would give it its words. It would remove anything that wasn't its definition or word. So it would suddenly define it, and that would be its definition from here on in. Anything else would be an error. That's the first
Mm.
thing it would do. It would then organize it. It would organize it into its right data pack. It would organize it
Yeah,
into its right
species and
section. Into
genus and
That's
yeah.
right, into its species and gene. And then it would compile visual information about it. So then it would start to compile visual information that would be then compiled and put into its right data pack and la la la. And until eventually, you wouldn't need to have any sense of ever meeting that tree or touching that tree or ever knowing that tree. You'd
Mm.
simply be able to get all that gnosis compiled and organized. And all the way that tree's been spoken about is very scientific data. It's got that syntax of biology or science or however way. And there it is. There it is. That's what entropy does. It organizes it. So it takes the wild chaos of the forest and will organize that forest into its word, its data pack, its scientific. And there you go. That's the explanation of the forest.
Yeah, yeah. You won't be able to see the forest for the trees, man.
Yeah. So I mean, and in that way, entropy is
Yeah. It's
organization.
like that saying about the bird, when you first show a child, well, when a child first sees a bird, he sees this wonderment and color and it flies and it does all these things. But when they get taught that's a bird, that all goes away, right? Because suddenly it's just a bird. Same with the trees, right? Like we get taught at school, right? Draw a tree. This is a tree. This is a tree. So when you go into forests, like instead of seeing all these different things and how they're all, flower in different seasons and grow differently and they're different colors, they're all trees. Right? It just homogenizes everything and takes out any imagination, right? Any thinking on it because you've already got the answer, which is what they do. They give you the answer first, then you don't have to worry about it, right? You
Yeah.
know.
So AI, by its nature, organizes things, structures things,
Yes.
and it's done that to our lives. It's organized, structured, compressed, minimalized, deleted, accepted. It's made the choices. Now, entropy, and I think I maybe spoke confusingly about this a second ago, but entropy is the natural chaos that comes from that. Because what entropy does is it wants to disorder everything. It
Yes.
wants to bring
Yeah.
about chaos. It wants to bring around diffusion. It moves towards disorder. So
Yeah.
creativity would be entropic in a way, would you say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was interesting when we were looking up the definitions yesterday because
Yeah, let's
entropy,
find
we've
a
been sort of
definition.
taught that it's just decay, really. But it's more anarchy, I guess. It's more, yeah, disruption, more nature, more basically the opposite entropy. What's the opposite? Is it tropy? Syntropy. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So entropy
That's
tends to,
order and defined, isn't it? So entropy
yeah.
is the opposite of that.
Yes, AI is that. So
Yeah,
entropy, the meaning would be tend toward disorder, diffusion, decay, and randomness. That's
yeah,
entropy, right? So in the Gnostic or Hermetic terms, it's the shadow of divinity. It's the shadow of it. So whereas, how would you put it? Like entropy is the longing for the universe to return to one, to return to one. Entropy is the longing for the universe to return to one, that undivided source, right?
Yeah.
But it does that by decaying order. So it's like this, it's this, are we
Yeah.
saying this correctly? It gets there by decaying order. It gets there by bringing randomness back in, and chaos and unpredictability and spontaneousness. It gets to the undivided source by getting rid of order and structure. It's a natural breath in and out, I think, of this
Mm.
reality. So, like, the order and structure of artificial intelligence must be met at some point with entropy.
Yeah.
It must be met,
Got to
but it's
decay. Yeah.
it must be, because it's the
It's
ultimate organized, formulated, controlled, invasive
like,
species. Ultimate.
yeah. And a lot of people have called it the Antichrist, right? Which is the anti-creator, right? The dark force. And it is, because it's trying to control and define everything. But that's completely against creation. Go walk in nature, and there's nothing controlled. It's all random. And entropy at its, end point is also the creator of life. You can't have life without death, right? When things decay, they give life to new things. Now, you can't live unless there's death involved, right? Oh,
So, yeah, I mean, so from that perspective, the opposite of entropy would be create.
oh, you're freezing. Are you there?
So creation, not creativity. Let's take creativity. The word create. Yes, I'm here. You're
All right.
here. I'm here. Are
All
you
right.
there? Are
Yep,
you
yep.
there,
I can hear
Campbell?
you now.
Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Yes. It doesn't like the conversation
So,
now. It's
so
getting
basically,
annoyed.
every structure. Well, look, I think we're being a bit confusing about this conversation. We're still getting our heads around it. So it's just a live chat as we come to this topic. So, like, to me, like, every structure in our current reality is organized, right? From every rule, every government control, everything we know about the agenda is to organize and control.
Yep.
That is its nature, right? That
Yeah.
is the creation of this agenda. And yet, entropy is the idea of dissolving, of breaking down, of bringing it back to timelessness, I guess. And so that is essentially the two paradigms that are in operation right now around us. You've got this like control agenda, this organized control agenda, which the AI is 100% generating, 100% doing, 100% making available and viable. Without it, this couldn't happen. Without
Mm.
technology, this could not happen. It just couldn't happen. So,
Right.
like, yes, so we've got this control agenda, this control parasitic agenda, which is all about the Abrahamic religions. It's all about a control agenda. All of it organized. Organize. Here is what you can do, what you can't do. Here is your sins. Here are your virtues. Here are your this is what you can eat, can't eat, dress, don't. Here's your
Yeah.
codes.
This is
Literally
acceptable. This
called
is not
codes.
acceptable. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally the codes,
The
the
code,
the Abrahamic codes.
the code
Yeah,
of
and they were
society.
like forced. Yeah, so it was organized and forced and controlled, which is just indicative of the internet. Whether you think it is or not, that's what it is. And
Mm.
then entropy is the opposite energetic. It just by its nature would suicide if it was to live in that system. Because as you're all feeling, you're all getting hopeless. You're feeling hopeless and bored. Well, not all of you, but that addressing that video, it's about hopelessness and boredom, brought about by this order and control. So, and that listless boredomness is that entropic vibration happening where you want it to dissolve. You want some unpredictable, spontaneous randomness. You want it to be altered and changed and brought back because control and an organization with control as its foundational platform is has to be by its nature separate from us.
Oh,
It has to be
totally. Yeah, it
separate.
has to be
It
removed. Yeah, yeah.
has to be.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be. So, like, then entropy would state that by the dissolution of it, you wanting to bring it back to one, you wanting to bring it back to a wholeness. Would
Yeah.
that not be the right
Yeah,
way of
totally.
thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it?
If you have a slave and a slave master, then entropy just wants to bring them back to being one, right? Being on the same level. which is more creative because then they have conversations, right? Rather than one giving the other one orders. So it's yeah, yeah. I mean, entropy is creativity, right? It's the ability to think outside the
N-
box.
I don't know. I think that's where maybe we're not. I don't know if
It's
we could say it was creativity.
well,
I'm
I
not
mean, it
sure.
is. I guess it's to what? Okay, creativity might not be the word, but it's like when a tree rots. Every they all do it in a different way, right?
Yeah.
It's not like so they all do it
Yeah.
differently. Like when
And
things,
could rot at any time.
yeah. So we wouldn't think of that as creativity, but there's no symmetry to it. There's no sameness. It's all
Random.
random. Yeah, maybe random's a better word for it. You put things into randomness, and that's what we would perceive as chaotic.
Yeah.
But it's actually not. It's all it's a sort of working on this system. To me, it's definitely tied to rebirth, right? And this, by the way, is what the Allies like to do, right? When they want to
Hmm.
change something, what do? They destroy the old so that
Hmm.
they can recreate the new in their image.
And when our thinking is I mean, because essentially what I'm trying to say about the thinking quality is that we are in a perpetual state, we're being jacked up in a perpetual state of outsourcing our thoughts. That's kind
Yes.
of like what I think it is, the outsourcing
And
of our thinking.
yeah, yeah, and this started again with the church, right? You've got to go and confess your sins to
Yeah.
the man in the dress so that you can get the right answer of what you should do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then you've got like this idea of feedback loops and conformity, right? Because as you outsource your thoughts, it gets brought back to you, conformed, the choice reduction, you get choice reduction, you get prompted. So you're outsourcing your thoughts ends up looking like you're being prompted to do it. You output something and then your choice is reduced. And then from those at the end of that, you'll make you do something, but you're being prompted, you're like you output something and your choice is reduced. And then this is the words that you can use. This is the format you can do it in. This is the format that websites will require. This is the format that fucking, thumbnails require. This is the format that YouTube requires. This is the format that Facebook requires. This is the format, choice reduction, choice reduction, choice reduction. You're being prompted the whole way, prompt. And then your creativity becomes just a composition of instructions, which is, I think, what I feel at my work. My creativity just becomes a compilation of instructions, you know?
Hmm.
Like I'm not, and like fuck me, man. If I make an image that is like that is out of the box of the algorithms around our work, fuck do I not, and like then I get 100,000 million trillion voices telling me I have to change it so that it fits in, so that it doesn't offend this person and doesn't do this and like change it. Otherwise, we're out of here. So that is another level of mass conformity using mass integration that is only available using artificial
Hmm.
intelligence.
Mass echo chambers too,
Yeah,
right?
so originality is
No,
forget
it's
it.
out. Like, yeah, I still remember what happened, what happened with your Donald Trump post. Everyone
Mate.
lost their minds and went
And I don't even
crazy. And
like Donald Trump. So,
no,
ironic. But
no, it
yeah,
was
don't put flowers in Donald Trump's hair, anyone, because like it's very offensive to many fucking people online. Um,
as
you
as are
know,
many things offensive, right? And there's this whole thought that you get to tell people what they can and can't say. If it offends you, then
yeah,
they can't say it. Like it's
yeah.
completely inverted.
Do you know when I was like in my early 20s, I used to survive by painting on cardboard boxes and selling them at the market. Like it was really scrappy and free. It cost me no money. And that's what anyway, but the markets back then were fucking excellent. There were just lots of young people trying to make money, coming up with cool ideas that they could create and sell. And like it's a very dynamic space. But man, if you go to markets today, it's the same thing over and over again. It's lost all of its
Yeah.
innovative input. You can't even, if you're an
And
artist today,
diversity. It's just all stuff
yeah,
from China now.
you don't think as an artist, hey, that you're going to make this amazing collection of paintings, and then you're going to do an exhibition in the great gallery down the road, and like you'll have, you'll do an opening night, and you get the bar going. Like you don't do that anymore because
No,
there is no
no.
amazing galleries
You
down the
get your
road.
painting and then you like go and see how many different products you can put it on.
Yes, exactly. Or you outsource it. Your painting immediately should be digitalized, so it can, your marketplace is online. Like you don't go to that gallery anymore. You
Well,
don't
this is the other
go
thing.
and see
Like,
if you can put your shit in shops.
how expensive would it be to send a picture? Like we've just been through the whole postage thing, right? If you wanted to send
Oh,
it
terrible.
overseas, you're talking hundreds of dollars or talking free on the internet, right? Just ping, send the image.
Yep, yep. So by putting our whole point of expression online, we're working within its parameters. Our expression is slotting into what's available, our options within its parameters. And trust me, those parameters are fucking intended. They have a long view and they're all about control. There's nothing about the artificial intelligence that is working in any way other than parasitic by nature, in any other way. Like you can argue with me that it's going to like solve all these diseases and la 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 la. But fucking hell, man, humans would have done that. Humans would have done
Well,
that if resourced. And of course, anything
apart
the
from,
AI achieves, it's already been achieved. It's just been denied us.
and we can already cure all this stuff, right? If we think and we use humans and that, but if you go within the system, the AI system, then you got to pay for your cure, which is actually the cause. So yeah, but I heard they just spent $7 trillion developing all this AI stuff to basically, they want a vaccine for cancer, all right? And yeah, $7 trillion in and no vaccine.
I had to really think about that sentence. I was like, a vaccine for cancer, a vaccine for cancer. I was
I
like,
know,
well,
isn't it
they're the same
weird? I mean,
thing.
yeah, it's weird. I mean, it can't ever be done because cancer's not a thing. It's like 1,000 different things that they just all lump into cancer. But like, yeah, it's interesting. Like we haven't got vaccines for all these things, right? For cancer and malaria and all these different things that still affect people. But 9 months, got the old COVID one up and running.
I mean, you could inject someone with all of the ivermectin slash version of things, but that wouldn't be a vaccine. That would be medicine to counteract the parasitic. And
Yeah,
you could,
yeah, that's
the
building your
heavy
immune
metals out of the.
system so
But
you can
anyway,
fight it off and defend yourself. Yeah.
so look, I mean, back to that original video we showed, just to like sum this all up, to address why people are feeling this level of boredom and discordance. It's A, because we have taken our focus off the outside world and our actual neighborhoods and our streets and have put it online for the last 5 years, coming onto the sixth year now, and that's caused a level of decay. In doing that, the first thing that goes when you take your focus off somewhere or something is the community, is community. That's the first thing that will always go. It'll be anything to do with supporting community that will shut down. If people aren't turning up, it's over. If the venues are getting full, then they're shut. Like the community takes personal motivation and innovation. Someone has had to start that group, start that thing, turn up, show up. People have had to attend. Like that's community. And so that goes. That's the first thing that goes. So, and that's basically the heart of the human satisfaction. It's that we have community around us, friends, relationships, community. Like that sort of safety and security and enjoyment and all that stuff comes from people to people. I mean, I'm not saying anything revelationary here. I'm just saying that the first thing that goes when you take your focus off
Hmm.
anything is the community itself. When the community itself goes, then everything feels hollow and shallow, and you lose the innovation, the creativity, you lose the events, the expressions, you lose that in individuality that goes right. So then you're left with the shell of a situation, which is by nature going to be monolithic, like monocultural
Hmm.
streets and sidewalks, because they've been propped up by corporations, not by individuals. Individuals will
Yeah,
have left the scene
yeah,
because they can't
department
afford it if there's
stores,
no
right?
community. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Instead of mum
So
and dad. Yeah.
for a thriving community to exist, which is what I believe Malany's so beautiful at, even though I know it's taken a biggest fucking punch when it comes to this is the mega of live music, the mega of the arts, and it's struggling because, fucking councils
COVID.
and the control grid has sort of like come in.
Yeah, man. I mean, even bloody the only music venue left, one complaint and they shut it down. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like insane. But we are so lucky though, because we've only got what, two, maybe three chain shops here, like corporate shops. Everything else is still luckily like, owned by
And we
men
get
and women.
buskers.
Yeah, and
We
we
get
got buskers,
buskers.
man.
That's
Never
so
had the
nice.
bus. No one
That's
harasses
gone.
them.
That's rare.
That's awesome. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, people now they bust to get like likes. They bust to go viral. You see the difference in the
Yeah,
quality there?
yeah,
They bust to
yeah.
go viral. That is so, so, so different than anything we've ever had to deal with before. You know, who's your audience? It's the AI. You're busking for artificial intelligence. You
Mm.
know, you're producing work for this for the aliens that have invaded this realm. And I don't see aliens in the way that, we are being programmed to think of aliens. But this is an alien event
Alien
going
just
on.
means not from here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't mean a spaceman who's green and flies in a disc.
Now, I mean, obviously, the question about how old is artificial intelligence, because I fell down that rabbit hole the other night and read some very well thought out arguments that artificial intelligence is the ancient construct that we live in to start with, that it is actually by nature an AI, an old ancient AI that we exist within to begin with. So that's, I don't know where that sits with sort of
Yeah,
like if
well, I
you
mean that's
parallel that
that's
with a Gnostic energy, but like something, somewhere, something began.
I
It's
mean yeah, there's definitely a conversation there, you
because
know,
that reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
which
That
what
sort of concept that it's a computer
when
behind it all,
yeah,
the most ancient
calculating, yeah,
creative
yeah.
energy of the whole construct of our reality is
And
artificial
we don't know,
in
right?
nature.
Yeah, is it a construct? Are we on the 13th floor or the second floor? We don't know any of this stuff, right?
Yeah,
But there's some interesting, yeah, concepts we could go down there. The whole seventh heaven. Does that mean we're seven
yep,
levels down? I don't
yep.
know.
But if we just instead of going down another rabbit hole, because I think it's
Yes,
been
let's
a
not
few
do
hours,
that.
so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we are living out an experience based on all the actions we took for the last 5 years. A, giving all our focus and energy to the internet. A, attuning our brains to be algorithmic in nature and conforming to the language of artificial intelligence.
Mm,
C, we've actually got used to the speed of gnosis that is not in check or in balance with anything to do with our actual realities, thus making our realities in contrast feel arduously slow and uneventful. And because we're so dissatisfied with that energy, we're not motivated to then put our focus back onto our realities to actually generate a creative response to that and do something about it, which is why,
yeah,
Cam and I are launching our enterprise group. And that whole concept is to balance this energy, that we put our focus and our energy into creativity outside into mess and chaos, that we gather together in mess and chaos, resource to do some messy, chaotic things that we could fuck up and blow up and destroy and have to start again. If we decide to build an airship as a community, fucking hell, man, none of us know how to do that. There's no instructions on that. We would just actually be having to physically work it out, make mistakes, work it out, make mistakes, keep going forward, keep going. Like we would have a fully satisfying experience as a
mm,
community developing something like that. And that is a thought of thing that it's going to take to counteract this energy that has completely overshadowed,
mm.
that Sophic spark of life, of
Out of the
light.
box thinking, right? Like as you can see, all these boxes, right, around me. Out of the box thinking is what we need. And like everyone, is all there's a lot of complaints about the system, but ultimately you've got to put your money where your mouth is, right? You've got to put your attention, and attention, by the way, is at tension, which means you're joined to something, right? Um,
Hmm.
but you've got to put your money where
Is
you,
at tension, as in TNSION, tension,
yeah,
like tension.
tension.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important
You
thing.
have to be
Absolutely. You
joined to
need
have
tension.
have
Yes.
tension, right? So you've
Yep.
joined
Yep.
yourself to
That's
something.
the slingshot that you've got to pull
Yeah,
it and pull it and pull it and pull it till it
bang.
becomes.
But we're always trying to do stuff to get people together, and that's your choice. But if I just know a lot of people complain, Kelly, that we charge for these things because they think it's all free. But I know these people go and buy coffees and meat pies, And
Do
you
they?
can,
I don't know if anyone, I didn't hear those complaints. They must be
I
coming
see
to
them.
you.
It's not most of our audience, but there's always people like, why isn't everything free? It's the truth. Why isn't the truth free? Why isn't all this stuff free? Well, because it costs money, but I mean, all these people go and buy stuff that they don't need. It's so easy to waste money in the system. So what I'm trying to say is
Absolutely.
choose where you're going to put
Yeah.
your money. Like, because
Nothing's
wherever you
free.
put your money and your attention, exactly, nothing's free. So wherever you put your money or your attention, your energy, whatever you want to call it, that's what's gonna grow in your life, right? So the more money you're putting into the system, and the less you're like, oh my God, these people are grifters, they're just trying to get money. Well, you don't get to, be involved in what comes from that. So like, just talk to someone who's been to our live events or the Jolly Swag, and everything's energy. So invest it where you want the outcome, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the whole delusion that the internet is a free resource is bollocks. Like
It's it's
you go through your subscriptions. You go through all the
y-
fucking things you have to pay for in order to use any of this, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
nothing
They say like
about it is
YouTube's
free.
free, and it is to start the account, but to actually run it, it's not. You need all this other stuff.
And really linger on the idea that, we are actually in the middle of like the invasive species, the one that's behind all this, past the Jews, past fucking God and Abraham, is right behind us. It's in our heads. And the very thing we're using today, right now, this is the invasive species and it's in our homes. And
Mm,
now we have to decide what we are going to give it and what we are going to keep for ourselves and where we want to put our true focus of energy in what direction. Is it just going to be an endless body of engineered gnosis? It's all engineered gnosis. Or
mm,
are you going to actually like go, okay, all right, cool. Like, what am I going to bring
well,
tension to in my life? Where's my tension? Where's my creative tension?
yeah,
I'm not going to keep ejaculating into the internet. This is
yeah,
constant ejaculation into the internet in all ways, right? And I'm not just talking through porno. I'm talking like creatively. You're constantly
yeah, yeah.
releasing your orgasm into this system, ejaculating your creativity and life force into this system. And nothing about it impacts your actual physical life. This is why it's
Mm,
feeling decayed, hollow, and boring and weird, like something weird has happened, which may still have happened, but something weird is off and happened. That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
you keep coming all over the internet.
Ch- Choose which wolf you want to feed, right? Which wolf
Yeah.
wins the fight?
Oh,
Well, the one that
oh,
you
which
feed.
sex buddy you really want? Like, I mean, truly, like, what relationship are you going to ejaculate into?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's another hard one, right? Because of
Is
the
that a good
whole
title for the show? Or we will get censored.
stop ejecting into the internet. Stop
Ejaculating into the internet.
ejaculating.
But
Stop
not just the
ejaculating all
internet,
over my
artificial
skin.
intelligence. You're ejaculating your life force into artificial intelligence,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
fine in balance. But if you're feeling like your actual life is not fulfilling you or satisfying, then you need to like
yeah.
turn that
If you're
erection
like that dude who left his
right
wife for
around.
AI, then you definitely need to, yeah, have a good hard look at yourself. Yeah, but it's true,
But
right?
not
Stop putting your
only
life
if you're
force
the
where you don't
person that's
want
wanking no, that's right. Just being on this thing for more than an hour a day is ejaculating into it. Mate, good job
it.
you already had your babies, Campbell.
There you go, guys. Yeah, I've already had my babies. Yes, they're waiting for grandbabies now. Um,
All right. On that note, I don't think we can say anything more. I just leave
no,
you with
no.
ejaculation.
We'll just finish with, if you only ejaculate into the internet, well, there's no people left and everything destroys. So just don't do that.
Basically, we start to walk through entropy.
Go find a real person.
It's interesting how the AI creates the order and the compression, and entropy creates the chaos and the unpredictable nature. But the two of them in this realm seem to be intrinsically operated from the same system because
Yeah,
for these big crazy events to happen, they're being engineered online. So the control's so integrated now that
mm,
the entropy is being engineered, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
They're
totally.
engineering the entropy.
They are, but it's false entropy because when you look around at the world outside, and this is again the whole topic of the conversation, it seems empty and there's not a lot happening, right? Because no one's ejaculating into it. There's not enough, attention being put on that. There's not enough people yelling over the fence at their neighbor. There's not enough. people smiling at people when they go shopping and walk down the street, right? That's all gone. Well,
Gone.
not
I
all of
mean,
it, but
yeah.
it's getting worse.
Which means that the spontaneity, the unpredictability, and the randomness in your actual reality is at an all-time low.
Oh,
Like you don't go down the street anymore and see that some kids have done chalk drawings all over the road in the middle of the night. You don't go see
yeah.
posters layering upon layering the telephone poles. You don't see like someone putting bubble bath into the fountains and that sort of random chaos
Yeah.
doesn't, it's all controlled and squeaky clean right now, you don't see it anymore.
Yeah, 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 man. Like, yeah, we used to have a lot of that. That was like coveted in Australia, right? The old larrikin. But where are the larrikins today, right? That
Yeah, there's no
they're
gangs of
doing what
kids
they're
getting up to
told.
shit.
That
Exactly.
there's no larrikinism in control.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it. That's our grand summary.
Yes. Let
You're
us know your
ejaculating
thoughts. Yes.
into the internet and giving it life, the invasive species life, to the detriment of the realm because data has weight. So all your cum is like fully weighting down this data center, which is going to have an impact environmentally.
I didn't think it was going to go this way, but it has.
I know I've like just to keep the point very clear in everyone's mind.
Yeah, well, I
How
mean,
much
it is
of
a good
your sexual
analogy
act
because
is,
that's the
yeah,
ultimate creation, right?
how much of your sexual act is going to retain holy, sacred, and intimate versus wanking all day to pornography? But I'm not even talking about pornography. I'm talking about wanking all day to all over artificial intelligence, as if it's like the only
Other
thing that
people's,
turns you
yeah,
on. It's the
opinion.
only thing in this reality that turns you on.
Yeah. Well, I know so much more than you, so I'm better than you.
Yeah. If the internet turns you on more than your actual life, then fuck, of course you're going to feel bored and hollow.
It's
And I think
escapism. Yeah.
I don't say that lightly because I think every single person watching this, including you and I, are in that situation.
Oh,
That the
totally, man.
online world turns us on more than
Um,
our realities.
well, I work online, so that's not good. It's a bit of a conundrum, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
but
but see, your choice is what everyone has to make a choice like that. Like at some point, Campbell, you will have to make a choice. Like
I
at some
know.
point.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Um,
Yeah,
yes, I'm actually thinking about it now. I mean, especially, right? Where I might just, who knows? I might just end up one day trying to log on and it's all gone.
exactly,
All
exactly.
gone. No
Uh-huh.
access to,
Uh-huh.
access denied.
Which would be of our benefit and if and also not. But we would then have
Yeah,
to be creative in how we solve that next issue. At least something's happened.
yeah, exactly. So if that does happen, guys, subscribe to the newspaper so you
Yeah,
don't lose contact.
that's right. That's right. All right, that's it. That's it. Let's end there because
That's
it's
him.
getting
All right. Awesome.
I
All right,
don't
guys.
think anyone's talked about that before.
No, yeah, leave us your thoughts, leave us your comments.
Oh, I love how we've disguised all of our chats under the word Tartaria Australia. Like, whoa, it keeps us so like I can say
Yeah,
anything,
maybe.
can't I?
Yeah,
No
yeah, I
one's
don't
gonna
know.
know because all right, all right.
They get
Yep, okay,
sensitive.
everyone. Love you. Have a great week. Hope you enjoyed that meandering chat and had a few moments. And we'll see you next week on Tartaria Australia.
Bye for
And fucking get
now.
your articles in, dudes.
See you guys.
Love ya.